The Horror Eternal presents The BLACKCAST, Part 2.
That's right. It's your erstwhile friend, Charles Guest,
said the host as if he'd heard my voice.
Hi,
Charles said.
So, Charles,
The host continued.
You're with us today to discuss a certain friend of yours out there in podcast land. Someone you feel is, how would you say, inauthentic.
Not living his true self, Charles responded.
Right.
The host concurred.
Inauthentic would imply a conscious choice.
Charles continued.
In his current state, he's as authentic as he knows how to be. But that authenticity is merely the product of a lifetime of choices made in an effort to cover up what lies beneath, to disguise his true self, those urges and desires that make the blood beat in his heart.
Exactly the condition this podcast was created to dissect and disassemble,
the host commented.
Exactly. It was listening to your show that helped me break through. You showed me the way.
It's our pleasure. It's what we at the BLACKCAST are here for, to crack open the door in the wall of the facade.
That bloody wall,
Charles said, a sudden darkness in his tone.
Dripping,
the host added, just as dark a tone flooding his voice. But Charles is the officers. When was this recorded? I thought. Charles went on.
They're natural impulses, you know? I mean, everyone has them. We just push them down. Don't listen to the voice.
Most, yes, but not the select few who are freed from their shackles,
the host interjected.
If they only knew,
Charles said dryly. They said 24 hours. Charles appeared to have been dead for at least a day.
Let's get into a little detail.
The host jumped in.
Tell us, where is the first time you remember having one of these urges?
An urge,
Charles said, thinking.
I don't really know the first time, but there was this one time. Still have flashes of it to this day. I was maybe 3, 4 years old. Our cat had a litter in the garage. My mom made a comfy little box with a blanket for them. I would sit and watch them crawling around, nursing. Then one day, I brought my mother's scissors out with me. I was curious what would happen if I cut one of the kittens in half. Honest curiosity. And so I took one, put it between the blades, and squeezed the handles together. It twitched and made a squealing sound. The blade didn't cut it in half like I'd expected. It was hard to cut. The blades got caught on bone and muscle. There was blood all over, messy. I hadn't considered what might come out. I guess in my mind it would slice perfectly in two like a doll. Instead, it was gruesome. Not sure what to do with the unexpected mess, I put the mangled body back in the box with the siblings and hid the scissors at the bottom of a storage container. I went inside and cleaned up. Later, I overheard my parents saying the mother had eaten one of the kittens. They never mentioned it to me directly.
Do you remember how you felt at the time or after?
I think that I felt nothing other than the surprised confusion at the messy reality. I felt nothing. If anything, just curiosity.
Charles answered.
And what about after? Did you think about it?
No, not really. I don't think so. Not until much later when I was older, when the curiosity returned.
Did you do anything similar as a child, or when you got older?
No, nothing that I acted on anyway.
But thoughts?
Yes, thoughts.
Tell us about them. Give us an example.
When I was 16, my dad and I went on a camping trip. We had these big knives, Bowie knives, for carving, whittling, cutting up the fish we'd caught for dinner. And when I held that knife and I was near my dad, I would get the strangest thought, nagging, continuous, a compulsion to stab my dad with that knife. I never acted on it, of course, but the urge, the visions in my head were strong, demanding.
Like rays of your true self shining through a break in the clouds of the false self.
I would come to understand that, yes. Come to know true liberation.
And you, dear listener, Does this sound familiar to you? I'd be willing to guess that it does.
Something grabbed me by the guts, twisting, a violent echo.
Tell you what, Charles, before we go any further, let's open up the conversation to the listeners. If you're listening right now and you have a similar experience to Charles here, those unsubtle urges nipping at your metaphysical heels, give us a call and share your experience. The number is...
I clicked off the podcast window. I'd heard enough. I mean, everyone's had a weird thought here and there in their lives. It's just the mind extrapolating things. An antiquated self-defense mechanism doesn't mean you're going to do anything about it. If we started prosecuting people for their errant thoughts, the whole world would be in jail. But Charles was dead. He went on some fucked up podcast talking about some psycho shit. I mean, had the cops heard this? Did the creepy host know he was dead? I swiped open the call screen, typed in the numbers, waited as the hollow ring repeated several times before being punctuated by a click.
Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Came the host's voice on the other end of the line. I pushed out a hesitant response. I wasn't expecting... Are you on the air?
We're streaming right now, caller. Do you have an experience you want to share with us? Have you felt urges like the ones Charles has been describing?
2 detectives came to my apartment this morning. They told me Charles is dead. I blurted out, the dam bursting inside. The host chuckled, dismissive.
Well, that must have been some experience, caller. Not exactly on topic, but definitely noteworthy. Wouldn't you say, Charles? I would.
Charles? I responded, a wave of confusion constricting my chest. So you're okay then? The police, they made a mistake.
No, there's no mistake.
Charles responded flatly. What do you mean?
You don't remember. We met up Friday night. I took you to the old house behind the big house at the end of the street to see Miss Lepsis.
The name sends a wave of cold terror crashing in on me, releasing the memory, releasing the horror. My chest tightens, can't breathe. Lungs struggle to catch a breath. Oh my God, oh God, oh God.
Are you there, caller?
The host asked. Then the dry heat, my temperature suddenly boiling, sweat on my brow, beads running down from my forehead into my eyes, burning them shut. I forced them open against the acidic assault. Blurred images warp and distort ahead of me. More perspiration finds its way into my mouth, choking me with the taste of bitter despair. And I remember. It's night. A cricket symphony of dread fills the air. A dog barks a mournful accompaniment. The image of Charles walking just ahead of me in the middle of the street materializes through the searing moisture in my eyes. Oh, where are we going again? I ask, memory still hazy. I remember something about a person he wants me to meet. Yes, more images come back through the haze. The knocking at my door. I'd listened to some of the podcast link Charles had sent. It made me queasy. I'd just gone to lie down when I heard the knocking. I answered, suffering a mild start to find Charles staring back at me. We hadn't seen each other in a while. He looked a little different. Longer hair, maybe a few extra pounds, but basically the same. There was a frantic air about him as he spoke. Yeah, you listened to the BLACKCAST? What'd you think? It's good, right? Compelling. Sure. I listened to some of it. Yeah. Sometimes you have to listen in spurts. I get that. It can be exhausting dredging up that you that's submerged down there in the blackness. I guess so. So, what's up? How have you been? You want to come inside? No. I was thinking. You want to go somewhere? It's not too far. There's someone you have to meet. He said, something ominous betraying his enthusiasm. But despite my unease, I acquiesced to his request with no objections. And now here I am, walking up this dead-end street, following Charles's manic lead. Darkness covets the fir trees lining our path, the only light a faint echo from the street lamps we left far behind. Why did we park all the way down the street? Couldn't we have driven up here? I ask, wiping my drenched brow to clear my eyes. Gotta keep it low pro, somebody'd see the car, he replies. The gravel crunches under our feet, each step a confession as we come to the end of the street. My heart beats hard to get out of my chest as Charles leads me to a tall, wrought iron fence, its Victorian spikes reaching out for relief from the suffocating pressure of the starless sky. Wait a minute, this is someone's house. We're going to climb the fence? What are we doing? I question. Charles clasps his palm around the steel posts and begins to climb. It's okay, nobody lives here. It's abandoned. Nothing's gonna happen. With an inward breath, I squeak my reply. I'm not comfortable with this. There's a seismic shift in his tone. Don't be a pussy, dude. Nothing's gonna happen. Miss Lepsis, the lady we're going to see, she's in the back house. Then, with a whisper, she'll make sense of all those thoughts in your head. I feel my breath quicken, dread coiling around my insides. Charles is already climbing. I force myself to follow, the cold metal against my palms, rust biting into my skin. My foot slips and I feel my jeans catch on a spike. I tug, but the fence holds tight. I'm stuck, I spit out, straining against the selfish grip. I yank harder until the sound of ripping fabric rends the night. Frustration and fear wrestle for control as I finally free myself, leaving behind a tattered tribute. I drop to the other side. The yard is overgrown with weeds, branches and junk strewn about. The grass whispers caution as I follow Charles towards a patch of trees huddled together beneath the forbidding silhouette of the front house. As we approach, a dilapidated cottage reveals itself in the gloom, its wood soiled with age and neglect, windows staring out from vacant orbits. This is it, Charles says as he steps up to the doorway. He grabs the knob and twists, but the blackened wood of the door is swollen with moisture and stuck in its frame. Charles grips the handle and begins jerking and pulling with all his might, but it refuses to budge. Nerves rattle in my throat. Why don't you just knock? She's expecting us, right? She comes when she's called, but you have to be inside for her to hear you. He replies, lungs pumping for breath. He kicks the door once, twice, then slams his shoulder into it with a running start. It finally gives with a tortured groan, swinging open to expose a beckoning void. The smell hits me first, a mix of mold, decay, and something unnameable. I've heard about the stench of a rotting human body. I can only imagine it's something like this. Flies buzz, a manic choir thrashing about in the air. A wave of insect bodies clatter about beneath our feet. The floor creaks under our weight, each step a protest against the intrusion. Charles reaches forward until his grip meets a string dangling in the blackness. He tugs and a single bulb flickers to life, etching out its horrors and long, mockingly deformed shadows. The cockroaches and beetles scuttle away in the cold stare of the accusing light. The room is sparse, a nightmare of dry rot and mold, wallpaper peeling like the skin of a decaying corpse. There is a wooden table carelessly painted over in thick brushstrokes of black paint, a wood-carved chair at its side, perhaps once regal in its day, now arthritic and mangled, its stuffing spilling out. In the back wall, an ominous passage to another room jeers back, teasing with a black smile of menace and bad intentions. I feel a boiling in my stomach, acidity and revulsion, sickness at existence. The feeling wells like vomit in the back of my throat, but I force my thoughts away from the desire to release the disease within. Charles goes to the table and grabs something lying unseen in the shadows. He raises a knife, its blade rusted and stained, the edge jagged. My stomach revolts once more at the sight. He turns to me with the smile of a playful child. These urges, you have them. His words penetrate, conspiring with something deep inside, something hidden. I'm stricken with pangs of resentment, an anger lashing out with daggers of vicious self-loathing. I shout in defiance of this sudden inner turmoil. Put that down, Charles. You're freaking me out. He shoves the knife into my hand, the metal cold, the rust rough against my skin. Then he moves to the center of the room, his eyes wild with a kind of frenzied excitement, and begins to hum, the sound low and resonant, filling everything with its unholy vibration. He chants, the same sickening dirge from the podcast that raped my mind with questions and fears of things hidden behind my conscious thoughts, shadow thoughts of another me. But here, in this forsaken place, it's different. It's a call, a summoning. He continues, the tone flattening, a guttural bell tolling. I feel it. That same hum from the podcast, not just in my ears, but in my mind. Voices joining in, whispers from the depths of my psyche. They grow louder, joining with Charles's voice, a chorus of the damned driving their way into my skull, softly at first, then growing louder, becoming a chorus of kill, kill, kill. The sound swells, the walls tremble with it, the air defiled by its sinister tone. The chant crescendos, then abruptly cuts off. A threatening echo lingers, then silence. A silence as loud as the chant it usurped. A loud thump from the back room accosts my senses. What was that? I ask, terrified of the answer lurking on the other side of the question. Charles's only response is a crooked grin. Another thump. I stare into the darkness of the back room. Something is moving in there. Charles cries out, a nervous excitement in his voice. It's me, Miss Lepsis. I brought you a visitor. Come out and meet him. I'm frozen. My mind begs my limbs for flight. There is a soft, unsettling shuffle from the back room, a chattering across creaking boards. A pitiful old woman, her hunchbacked frame draped in a tattered and stained gray dress, scampers out from the darkness with a jitter reminiscent of the fleeing insects. Her long, bony arms stretch outward, leathered skin taut, elbows bent, fingers splayed. My gaze catches on the matted clumps of stringy white hair on top of her head, then slides down to a face furrowed in wrinkles. As the shadows shift with her hectic movement, I realize that something's not right. I trace the hardened contours of the bony jaw, sunken cheeks, and crooked nose. But the space between the bridge of the nose and the forehead is compressed in on itself. There are no sockets and no eyes. A bizarre clicking erupts from her mouth. Cold, primitive, animalistic, and disturbingly accusatory. Her body jerks and shifts, shoulders and hips swinging in violent opposition, a macabre tandava of flailing limbs, her cadaverous finger waving and pointing at me. The alien clicking burrows into my mind, a hideous psychic assault. Her tiny feet skitter towards me, startling me into a state of paralysis. She raises her finger and presses it to the middle of my forehead and holds it there. Then she opens her mouth and a thick black mass covered in a viscous tar-like substance spills out, splashing to the floor between us, spattering me in its wake. A wave of nausea cuts through me, then a burning wells up in my stomach. An acidic revulsion explodes inside of me, and something thick kicks up from my guts, filling my throat. I gag, choking as I heave and sweat, forcing it out. A black mass like the one from Miss Lepsis slides from my throat, into my mouth, and out onto the floor. Yes, push it out. Push out the false self. Regurgitate control. Embrace the freedom of the true self. Charles shouts with disturbing glee. The sound of his voice strikes a rage inside of me. Fury, anger, weak. He sounds weak to me, and everything inside me rejects the weakness, hates the weakness, fuels me to wipe out the weakness, destroy it, dominate it. I'm suddenly aware of the cold steel in my hand and step forward, plunging it into Charles's stomach. My entire being is swathed in a wave of sickening satisfaction. Yes, you're free. Strike out again. Drive the weakness out, he screams, voice quivering with delight. I pull the blade out and fitfully slam it into his chest, shoulders, arms, and neck over and over again in a frenzied rage of bloody fury. Every thrust brings release, a liberation from the shackles of my own mind. Humanity, I realize, is a prison, and with each strike, I break free of its bonds. Charles continues his hysterical shouts of encouragement until his ravaged frame collapses to the floor, the final flicker of perverse ecstasy extinguished from his gaze. Miss Lepsis is still, quiet, a wind-up toy whose spring has run out. She recedes into the darkness once more like a nightmare upon waking, its meaning fracturing and breaking down in the cold, hard light of lucidity. I feel a sudden weakness in my limbs, my will deflating beneath me. I stumble back, catching myself on the table, steady myself with its weight and collapse into the chair. The silence is oppressive, the only sound my labored breathing, my mind a labyrinth of confusion and horror. It takes a few blank minutes for me to realize I'm staring at a body on the floor, the room awash in the spray of vital fluids. I look at the knife in my hand. A vague sense of cause and effect beats a soft pulse from the depths of consciousness. I study the back wall. There was something. I remember a doorway and darkness, but only the worn and half-stripped daisy pattern of wallpaper and pitted wood stares back. Finally, words form once again, breaking free from the static in my mind, and I think to myself, why am I sitting here with this knife in my hand? And I try to remember. If you have enjoyed this program, please like, review, and share. Spread the word. The Horror Eternal presents The BLACKCAST Part 2. Written, produced, and performed by Roy Burdine. Sound design and mix by Mark Labib. The Horror Eternal and The BLACKCAST are copyright 2025 Roy Burdine. This has been a Spiral Opus audio production. Also from Spiral Opus, don't miss Mindraker, Background Anger, the story of a psychic assassin on a mission from God. Season 1 available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts.
Monster Forge. We make monsters.